All right, folks, we're going to work on getting this little logo created. This is just a mock-up, just a practice project. You are not going to turn this in. You're going to do your own thing with your own logo, but hopefully this will give you a chance to work a little bit in the software and kind of get what's going on. All right, so here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to start a new document, File, New. And I want you to go to the Film and Video preset. And we're going to choose the one that says HDV HDTV 1080. Click Create. And we end up with a blank screen here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in a thumbnail document. In this case, this is a full-size sketch. You can do the same thing with your own logo if you like, or not, but what we're going to do is go to File, Place, and you're going to navigate to whatever your thumbnail is. In this case, we're going to use this one called GeoStar Logo Thumb. I'm going to click Place. And you'll notice there's two sort of inner boxes here. These represent title safe and action safe. We're just going to put it sort of in the corner of the inner box, the title safe box, and click OK. And now we get this really huge image that's turned sideways. No worries, we're going to fix that here in just a minute. One of the things I do want to ask you to do while you're here is to click Window and make sure that you have Control turned on. Window Control. If it's not, just click on it and it'll get a checkbox beside it. And what that'll do is give you a little dialog up here at the top. In the latest version, CC 2018, that is hiding from us. So that's how you turn it on. Now I'd like you to hold the Alt key or Option key if you're on a Mac. You probably are. I'm the only one in the universe that seems to be on a PC anymore. But off we go. So you're going to roll the mouse back a little bit, the scroll wheel on the mouse, and good. All right, no problem. What we're going to do is come outside of this bounding box right here, and we're going to start to spin it around. And if you hold Shift, it will constrain itself to 90 degrees, 45 degrees, so forth. So we're just going to spin it clockwise until we get it oriented properly. Then we're going to get inside of this bounding box and we're just going to drag it up into position so that it's reasonably centered on the screen. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just something like that. So it's kind of weird to see, but we're looking for this little part to be centered inside here. Now, for yours, if you have a thumbnail document that has 9 on a page or 6 on a page, you can scale this guy up. Just hold Shift and you can scale it up to whatever proportion is necessary. This is only temporary for us. I'm going to click Undo, Control or Command Z. And anyway, you can make it as big or as small as you want to make it. You're shooting for your logo about a third of the screen or so, something like that. So we're not resizing this one at all. You can resize your own, no problem. Next, we are going to start to trace shapes over the top of this object. So I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt again, and I'm going to roll the mouse in to kind of fill the screen. And I'm going to hold the space bar down here. And with the space bar, what that does is that allows us to temporarily move around the image without actually moving the image itself. This is called the hand tool. We actually have a hand tool right over here just above the magnify tool, the zoom tool. But this is the temporary hand tool right here, just like so. All right, looks good. Next thing we're going to do, over in your properties panel on the side here, click on the layers tab. Okay, and we're now going to go over to the shapes tool, and we're looking for the one called the ellipse tool. The shapes tool, if you click and hold on it, you're going to see all the different shapes. We want the ellipse tool. All right. So now we're simply going to draw an ellipse. And I'm looking at this this circle here. And if I was to sort of pretend that this were a square, the corner of the square would be right up in there somewhere. So I'm going to click and start dragging out. Again, hold shift to constrain the shape to a perfect circle and make it the size of the circle behind it. Now we have white and we need to change the color of this circle. So we can click on the down arrow up here at the top of our control panel and we'll see all of our colors. We're going to choose the purple color here. I guess it's called RGB magenta. Great. All right. Now in the layers panel, we're going to twirl layer 1 down and we see this thing called ellipse. We're going to rename it planet. Great. Now, we need to hide the planet layer. So just click on the little eyeball here to hide it. And now we're going to work on this sickle shape using everybody's favorite tool, the pen tool. I know you hate the pen tool already. Don't worry. One of these days you're going to love it. You won't be able to live without it. You have to learn it because all of the Adobe applications use it. Okay? Trust me, you will learn to like it. So what I want you to do is come up in the upper little point of this orbit shape here, and I want you to pull down and to the right. Don't make it too big, something like that. Okay. The little curvy shape is going to follow you around. I want you to drag up and to the right. I think I said down and to the left on the last one, didn't I? Anyway, it's going to look something like that. And the last thing you're going to do is go around to the first point again, hover over the top of it, click and drag down again and to the left. And you're going to end up with some kind of funky looking shape like this. All right, now a quick lesson on how to work with our two helper keys, which are the Control and Command key and the Alt and Option key. Okay. First, holding Control. Don't do anything yet, just watch me. Okay. I'm holding the Control key and I'm going to hover over this point. I get the little message handle right there. It's going to allow me to adjust this handle. The problem is for us right now, when I adjust one handle, the other handle adjusts in relation. What I'm changing is, you can see as I drag it outwards, I get a different looking shape on the right side, but not on the left side. But it's still, when I rotate it, the angle changes together. Okay. Now, what I really want, I'm going to undo, Control or Command Z. What I really want to do is adjust this one independently. So I'm going to hold the Option or Alt key, and that's going to allow me to adjust only this handle. So it allows me to kind of spin this guy around, and we're going to do the same for both of them. Now you can do this with me. You're going to take these two handles, and you're going to spin them around like so. And we're going to have to make some adjustments to this, but there's our basic shape. It's a sickle shape or an orbit shape, I'm going to call it. Okay, if we go back to the Command or Control key, we'll just click on this bottom anchor point again, and we'll just kind of start to adjust this a little bit. I think I'm going to go up a little, like so. We're just going to continue this process of moving these 4 points around until we got a nice orbit shape that sort of looks semi three-dimensional. So I'm going to continue to hold the Alt key, and I'm just going to drag these around until I get the kind of shape I'm looking for. I'm sort of wanting to flatten this out a little bit. So, whoops, undo that and grab the handle rather than the point. And just going to work with this a little bit until it looks a little bit too much like a boomerang to me. So I'm going to smooth the shape out a little bit. Now I'm going to hold the Control key and click on a point because the other point disappeared on me. So if I click Control, if I hold Control and click on the anchor point, both handles show back up. Okay, so if they go away, just Control click. So again, Alt, clicking and adjusting the handle itself. I don't know. This you can just mess with all day long. We're going to cut our losses and just call that the shape, okay? So we need to recolor this shape. And to do so, let's try to find another place to do it. We can do it here, but I want to come over here to the Properties panel and go to Appearance. Here, if I click on the color, the fill color for Appearance, we're going to get a set of color chips. We're just going to click some of the preset colors. You can just choose the yellow one here. You also, if you want more than 32 colors or whatever that is, you're welcome to go and click on the color chip itself. I guess you got to double click on it and you can adjust right here. The way this works is this is using the HSB model, hue, saturation, and brightness. It's my favorite model. I like it much better than RGB or CMYK. This allows you to adjust hue, saturation, and brightness independently. When you drag left and right, you are going to adjust only the saturation of the color. When you drag up and down, you're changing the brightness of the color. And when you come over to this rainbow bar right here, you are adjusting the hue of the color. Okay, so any combination of this will get you whatever color you want in 16.8 or 4 million colors. I'm not sure. It's a lot of colors, plenty of colors. Okay. Anyway, we're going to click cancel because I like the yellow color just fine. All right, continuing to go here. We need to go back to the layers panel. We need to rename this orbit. Great. All right. We have our orbit. It's not my best work, but you know, that's all right. This is practice. You're not turning this one in. Okay. All right, we need to make the star. The star is really easy. We come back to our shapes tool right here, click and hold, and go find the star tool. And we're simply going to draw out the star shape here. If you don't, if you have something other than a 5-point star, don't worry. You can use the up and down arrows while you're holding, clicking and holding on this shape, and it will add or subtract points from this polygon. All right, now that it's there, we're going to rename that object to star. Great, now let's go ahead and work on the type. Here's our type tool right here. And if you click on the type tool, we can simply start typing. But what I really want to do is I want to see my type before I go any further. So I'm going to go Window, Character. Where's type? Oh, maybe it's type. Type. Yes, it's character in Photoshop. Window, Type, Character. And that's going to bring up a little drop down for us, a little floating box. Here's our menu for type. Let's go ahead and change this one to Gill Sans. Gill Sans. I'm on a PC. I'm going to choose Gill Sans MT. On the Mac, your choices are a little bit different. Just go ahead and choose the regular Gill Sans. And we're going to change the size to, I believe, roughly about 48, if I recall correctly. 48, you can also just click on this, click inside this box and type whatever you want to. I think that's about right though. I'm going to type in Geo star, hit return, media works. Okay, well that's something. It's not exactly right, but what the heck. Let's adjust it, okay? I'm going to hit the escape key and that will set the type for us. So again, choosing the type tool, I'm going to select only the top layer of type. 48 points is not big enough, so I'm going to make it bigger, something like that. I want it to be all caps. And there's parts of this display that I don't see anymore. Again, thank you, Illustrator, for changing things in 2018. Click on this little fly out over here on the side, and that will show you more stuff. Show options is what we want. All right, now I see what I want to see, which is this little set of icons down here at the bottom. I want the one that says double T, all taps, all caps here. And whoa, all right, now it's way too big. Should have made this change first. We want it roughly that big, okay? And we are going to go to the next layer. And for those of you on Macs, you can change Gill Sans to a light font. I don't have that version here. So instead, I'm going to change to a different font. I like this thing called Acumen Variable Concept. It's pretty cool. Again, I need to go all caps right here. And I'm going to make it a little smaller. GeoStar's the important thing, not MediaWorks. And now I'm going to track the type out a little bit using this track control. I'm going to keep on going with this until I track this type out. Tracking is changing the spacing between the letters until it's about at until they're taking up the same amount of space. Now I also want to change the leading, the space between two lines of type. The leading is here. I'm going to reduce the leading on this, just bring it up underneath the other type. Not too tight, but not too loose either. That looks pretty good to me. All right, I need to turn back on the planet layer. So I'm going to go ahead and select all the type here, and I need to change the color to yellow. And the way I'm going to do that is up at the top of the screen here, we can click on the little drop down. We get the same color chips as we had before, just going to change that to yellow. Now I see some problems here. I've got a stroke around these objects. I should have gotten rid of that before, but I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and go click on the star layer, go get my selection tool. I'm going to click first on the planet. I'm going to set the stroke to 0. Just type in there 0. You can also see that it turns into a little red slash there. I want to do that for all of our layers. Here's the orbit layer. Need to select that one. Now I can click on it, or I can just hit the little target icon over here on the side. We can again set that to nothing by clicking on it, no stroke. And finally the star gets the same treatment. We're going to click on the little target icon, tell it stroke, none. Whoops, wrong dialog, stroke, 0. Okay. Now, I see my type has moved a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and go back and reposition that type. How'd that happen? Target that, move it down in position, and that's roughly good. Okay, one last thing we need to do. I'm going to go ahead and kill this character menu. And so here's the thing. When we get into After Effects, and that's the goal here, we're going to take this thing into After Effects and we will animate it there. There's some unique things about the way After Effects talks to Illustrator. One of the things that's going to happen is we're going to have to retype our text. It's just a placeholder for us right now. We just need to see where we want it. Okay, so we're going to end up throwing this layer away when we get over into After Effects and typing our stuff anew. The other change that we have to make is that After Effects deals in layers. Okay, right now we only have one layer. So in order to animate all of these things independently, we need to put them in their own layers. Now there's a way to do this that's a little bit quicker, but I want to show you the long way to do it so that you understand what's going on. Down here at the bottom of the display, there is the Create New Layer icon down here. It's the right to the left of the trash can. It's a piece of paper with the corner folded out. I want you to click it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now we've got 4 layers up here. Okay. We are going to move this stuff into their own independent layers. Okay. So we'll take GeoStar, this text right here, we'll move that into layer 4. That's the one on top. Oops, it didn't go. Let's try again. Go. There we go. We'll rename it text. we'll take our star layer, put that into layer 3, double click, rename it star. We're going to take the planet, or excuse me, the orbit layer, and we're going to drag that up into layer 2. Come on, baby. And rename it orbit. There we go. And finally, in layer 1, we need to rename it planet. And we are going to turn off or delete, it's your choice, this guy right here. Okay, that's our background layer. And that's our finished product right there. That's what we want. Okay, from here, you are simply going to save and remember where you save it. Okay, I highly recommend that you save this to cloud storage so that it doesn't magically disappear on you. Certainly, if you are at school working, you don't want to save it locally, or somebody else can come in and delete your stuff. So, cloud storage is your friend. Okay, good luck. Have fun. Let me know if you have any questions.